Please subscribe if you like this video. Thank you. So before I can create a batik, I have to pin up my fabric. Basically, I have a frame and cotton, and I use pins to put the fabric onto the frame with. Sometimes it's a bit fiddly. The pins don't always go in just as I want, and the wood can be a little bit hard. It's not my favourite process. In fact, it's a process I often put off doing, which means I'm putting off starting. Putting off starting is never a good idea. As you can see, what I'm doing is I'm stretching one side and then stretching the other opposite side. This means that in the end, the fabric is as taut and tight as a drum, which it needs to be because I'm going to rest my hand on it later. So I'm just going to continue doing this. Doesn't take long, but it is, as I said, a process I do not like doing. Has to be got over, has to be done, or else I can't do all the bits that I love. So I'm now done and I'm ready to apply my stencils to the fabric. These stencils I actually bought from Amazon, but you can make your own stencils. You just need to use, I would say, a thin card. Cut your shapes out of the thin card and then you can spray on top of them to get colours where the gaps are. But in this instance, I'm using ones I bought from Amazon because I like them. I've got a spray bottle. I've put yellow dye in it. And as you can see, I'm now spraying over the stencils. This spray bottle is usually very good, but at this precise moment, it's not performing perfectly. So I'm not sure if the image underneath is going to be perfect. Let's see. Let's lift up the stencils and have a look. Yeah, it's not perfect at all, but it won't matter. It will matter not at the end of this batik. So this bit of the process is done. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to be waxing in a pattern that I'm choosing on top of the yellow and white fabric. Everywhere I wax, I protect the colour underneath. So I'm protecting the yellow and white designs. I'm not thinking, I'm just letting the brush do the movements, the walking, the talking. My hand really, I suppose, is doing as I'm told. You do have to keep going back into the wax relatively regularly to get fresh flowing hot wax on the brush. But other than that, I don't have to do much other than just play. I have no idea what this piece is going to look like in the end. So I don't have a feeling that I'm going to go wrong with the marks that I'm making. I just want to make marks and see where they lead me. It's a very enjoyable thing, doing something where you don't know what the destination is going to be. I suppose it also could be said it can be a little bit frightening, but for me, I think the word is probably liberating. So here we go, very nearly done. And I am done. So my job now is to apply dye to the cloth, and the first colour that I'm choosing to apply is a pink, a kind of raspberry shade, and I'm putting the dye on with a sponge. I'm putting the dye on in the form of a new pattern. It's very easy to do. The sponge just glides over the cloth, and you can see that the waxed areas peek through. The waxed areas will not absorb the colour that I'm putting on. Nearly there. Now I'm putting on another colour. I'm going to be putting on a blue. And where the blue hits the white fabric, it stays blue. But where it hits the yellow fabric, it goes green. So you can see I'm getting an extra colour coming in here. So So I'm basically just filling in the areas that I've left open. And now excess dye is taken off the batik with a paper towel, and when it's dry, I start waxing again. This time I'm using a very fat brush. You can see it goes in and out of the wax. And again, I'm making marks without really thinking. What I'm doing, and you guys will have got this by now, is I'm protecting the colours underneath. So I'm protecting the raspberry, the green and the blue. Again, in a very free and easy pattern. I am definitely dictated to by the marks that I've already made. They are forming the decisions I'm making, but that's all good. That's fine. It wouldn't matter if I went in a completely different direction either. You cannot go wrong with an abstract piece of art. Blue dye is now applied to my cloth, and again I'm using a sponge, and you can see the areas that I've waxed are peeking through again. They're going, hello, look at us, here we are. And on I go, covering the whole fabric. So now I take off excess dye with a paper towel and wait for it to dry. So now I'm making my final last waxing. As you can see, I'm using a huge brush this time and making very large marks. This waxing is protecting my last layer of colour, again in the pattern that I'm choosing. I've turned my work upside down. You may have noticed that. You may not have. Sometimes I do that when I feel that I'm a bit stuck and I want a new image to look at. And there we go. Done. My final colour is now being applied. I'm using a bigger sponge this time. It's a black. And here we go. You can see all the image that I've waxed peeking through. Oh, this is exciting. This is the last ride home. And here we go, getting there. I'm now done on this, and I have to take off excess dye. So I take a paper towel, and all the dye falls into the towel. I'm not wearing gloves. I should have been wearing gloves. Never mind, nearly there. And here it is, my final batik with the light shining through it. I hope you like it. I hope you'll watch other videos. Thank you.